stories. AMOSU procures vaccines for seafarers and cadets. 4 Filipino seafarers kidnapped in the Gulf of Guinea. One of missing seafarer appeals for police investigation. The OEA suspends agency of abandoned seafarers in Fiji. Norway to build world's first ship tunnel.
The Associated Marine Officers and Seamen's Union of the Philippines, or AMOSU, is procuring COVID-19 vaccines for its seafarers and cadets. This was announced by AMOSU Executive Vice President Vice Admiral Eduardo Santos after the Malacanang pronouncement that private companies are now allowed to purchase COVID-19 vaccines. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque explained that the Implementing Rules and Regulations, or IRR, of Republic Act 11525, or the COVID-19 vaccination law, has been amended to allow private companies to purchase COVID-19 vaccines. However, he noted that private firms must enter into tripartite agreements with the vaccine manufacturers and the national government because COVID-19 vaccines are not yet commercially available in the market. Vice Admiral Santos, who is also the president of the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific, or MAAP, said the 20,000 vaccines they have ordered are expected to be delivered in July.
AMOSU is actually procuring vaccines for our seafarers to make sure that before our seafarers go, they will be vaccinated. And we were just trying to take it easy on this because there was no approval yet. But since there's already some clarity on how we are going to do things, we are going to increase the procurement some more. I've actually placed an order for 10,000 doses of VacuVax and 10,000 doses for Moderna. However, they're all coming sometime in July yet. We hope that the DOH will give an allocation for seafarers. And at this time, there's specifically no request yet for the cadets to be vaccinated. But that's already part of my plan, that I'll vaccinate all the cadets, and then especially give priority to those who are going on shipboard training. We vaccinate them already so that they'll be ready when they go aboard ship. For the seafarers, we intend to vaccinate also those who will not be covered. In order for us to be able to get our jobs back. So we'll tell everybody that, hey, Filipinos are vaccinated, already have been immunized, and so the chances of deployment will be bigger than.
Nautilus has reaffirmed its call for seafarers to be prioritized for COVID vaccination, following the launch of a digital green certificate by the European Commission. At the Ship Management Forum, Nautilus General Secretary Mark Dickinson emphasized they will face a huge problem of labor supply if crews are unable to get to ships because they don't have access to approved vaccines. Seafarers can face logistical barriers in accessing vaccinations, which require 2 doses up to 12 weeks apart. COVID travel restrictions, denial of shore leave, and crew change policies all act to limit seafarers' access to vaccination. Meanwhile, some labor supply countries, such as Singapore, have signaled they will set up vaccine hubs to ensure seafarers and other transport workers are prioritized for COVID vaccination. Discussions are also ongoing on administering vaccinations on board, and that the introduction of a single-dose vaccines could ease some of the pressures.
4 Filipino seafarers are among the crew members of a tanker vessel who were kidnapped by pirates in the Gulf of Guinea. This was confirmed by Labor Secretary Silvestre Bell III during the regular weekly V-Cafe program of the department. Bello said the Department of Foreign Affairs has started negotiating with the concerned agencies for the release of the seafarers.
Thank you, Director Rolly. Totoo yun na doon sa pinasok ng mga pirata ay meron tayong mga Filipino seafarers na dawit. Ang report na tanggap namin merong 4. Pero mukha naman nasa mabuting kalagayan sila bagamat hindi pa rin sila nakakalaya dahil nandoon pa rin sila sa mga pirata. Pero merong mga ongoing negotiation being undertaken by the ATN of the Department of Foreign Affairs. So anytime now, siguro magkakaroon tayo ng update kung ano na ang latest report on their situation and condition. Hopefully, maganda naman ang magiging balita.
Initial reports say 15 of the 21 crew members were abducted by the pirates, including Ukrainians, Romanians, and Filipinos. But Oleg Nikolenko, spokesperson for the Ukraine Ministry of Foreign Affairs, issued a clarification on Twitter that there were no Ukrainian seafarers on board the attack vessel. The Maltese flag oil chemical tanker Davide B departed Northern Europe in February and was boarded by pirates on March 11 while transiting the Gulf of Guinea.
Nippon Yusen Kaisha or NYK Cruises has suspended the upcoming voyages of its cruise ship Asuka II after one of its crew members tested positive for COVID-19. Cancelled Asuka II voyages were Spring Hinata, weekend cruise on March 19, cruise from Kobe Spring Yurara, Kobe on March 21, Yokohama cruise on March 23. In a statement, the Japanese shipping company said that on March 16, a foreign crew member of the passenger ship Asuka II, anchored at Yokohama port, was confirmed to be positive for COVID-19. The company stated that the crew member was confirmed to be negative by 3 PCR tests before leaving the country of residence on March 1 when entering Japan and when boarding the ship on March 3. After identifying the positive person, the company said that they promptly reported the case to the Public Health Center for instructions. Moreover, they also tested all crew members who had direct contact with the infected crew member during work and confirmed that they are all negative of COVID-19. The disinfection of the entire vessel was also completed. Meanwhile, the infected crew member is undergoing medical treatment at an onshore hospital and doesn't have serious symptoms or fever.
Up next, wife of missing seafarer appeals for police investigation. POEA suspends agency of abandoned seafarers in Fiji. Norway to build world's first ship tunnel.
The maritime world is changing, and for the better. With help from IMO, exciting and rewarding career opportunities are opening up for women, and a new generation of strong and talented women are responding. They're proving that, in today's world, the maritime industries are for everyone. It's not about your gender, it's about what you can do.
Of a Filipino chief engineer is asking for an in-depth investigation on the case of his husband who was declared missing since February 10. According to the initial report, Joelito Pia Omela, 54 years old, a resident of Pangasinan, was last seen at the engine control room before midnight of February 9. Search and rescue operations were conducted on February 10 by the Australian Maritime Patrol aircraft, U.S. government vessel, with assistance of a nearby vessel. Bulk carrier Baltic K was approaching Singapore when the incident happened within the international waters. The wife, Mrs. Emily Ancheta Omela, has been seeking clarification if search and rescue operations can still be continued. Moreover, she appeals for in-depth investigation or interrogation by the proper authorities to know the truth behind the sudden loss of his husband.
Kasi, siyempre as a wife, wala naman po kaming problema. It's very sudden. Tapos, ganun lang yun. Pababa na siya. 36 years na siya nagbabarko. Tapos, 54 years old. Hindi pwedeng ganun lang yun.
She also said they have a happy family and there is no reason for his husband to jump overboard or take his own life. Seafarer Omela was promoted to chief engineer last October 2020, had finished his contract and was about to disembark days before he was discovered missing. Mrs. Omela said she is still waiting for update from the manning agency, Eastgate Maritime Corporation, which promised to conduct an investigation on March 15 when the vessel arrived in South Africa. Meanwhile, the International Transport Workers Federation or ITF and the International Seafarers Welfare and Assistance Network or ISWAN have started to reach out to the family to provide assistance.
The Department of Transportation and the Philippine Ports Authority have inaugurated 3 port projects linking Palawan to other parts of the nation and the nearby countries. Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade and PPA General Manager J. Daniel Santiago led the inauguration of the completed ports in Palawan, the Port of San Fernando in El Nido, the Port of Bataraza in Barangay Buliluyan, and the Borac Port in Coron. Also in attendance were Palawan Governor Jose Alvarez, Palawan 2nd District Representative Cyril Abueg Zaldivar, Palawan 3rd District Representative Hin Acosta Jr., El Nido Palawan Mayor Edna G. Lim, and other local and national officials. The inauguration also marks the start of operations for the newly constructed seaports aimed to boost economic progress in Palawan and the whole of Mimaropa or Mindoro, Marinduque, Romblon, Palawan region. The ports of San Fernando, Bataraza, and Borac are among the 424 completed seaport projects of the DOTR and PPA under the massive Build Infrastructure program of the Duterte administration. Tugade underscores the political will of President Rodrigo Duterte and the cooperation of the local government that made the success of the projects.
The Philippine Overseas Employment Administration or POEA has suspended the license of the Manning Agency which deployed the Filipino seafarers abandoned by Condor Shipping, a ferry company in Fiji. At the VCAFE program of the Department of Labor and Employment, POEA Administrator Bernard Olalia named the agency as Able Maritime Seafarers Incorporated. Olalia said they also suspended the ship owner and employer, thus disallowing them to recruit and hire Filipino seafarers. The POEA chief stated that the agency failed to give assistance to the abandoned seafarers and had shortcomings in monitoring their conditions.
Yun pong mga seafarers natin na na-recruit na mag-work doon sa isang shipping vessel sa Fiji na iniwanan ng kanilang employer doon at hindi inaasikaso, inabisuhan na po ng POEA ang Manning Agency. No? Tinignan po natin sa ating database kung may mga significant reports yung Manning Agency na tinulungan sila at ginabayan sa kanilang mga problema. Nakita po namin na nagkulang yung Manning Agency sa pag-monitor sa ating mga seafarers, kaya po agad-agad po tayong nag-impose ng disciplinary action which led to the documentary suspension of the license of the said Manning Agency. Yun namang employer po niya, dahil nga po may kasalanan din, kasama din po na suspendido sa ating POEA at hindi po sila makakapag-hire or makakapag-recruit ng seafarers po sa kanila.
Olalia added, since there is no Philippine Labor Office in Fiji, the Philippine Embassy is now coordinating with the New Zealand for the immediate repatriation of the seafarers. He said POEA and OWA are also coordinating with the seafarer families for further assistance.
Norway will build the world's first ever sea tunnel for ships, and it will be called Stadship Tunnel. It is designed to help vessels navigate the treacherous Stadhavet Sea. The 118 feet wide tunnel will burrow through the mountainous Stadhavet Peninsula in northwestern Norway. In a supplementary allocation letter for 2021, the Norwegian Coastal Administration, or NCA, has received a clear signal to initiate the startup of the Stadship Tunnel. Terje Andreasen, NCA Temporary Project Manager for the tunnel, says, based on the allocation letter, they will now start the process of acquisitioning properties in the area where the ship tunnel will be located, as well as put in place a project organization, prepare a tender basis, and initiate a tender. 75 million Norwegian crown in startup funds has been set aside in the state budget for 2021. The project, estimated to cost 2.8 billion Norwegian crown, excluding VAT, with a construction period of 3 to 4 years. Andreasen assured they have carried out extensive studies and planning, and if everything goes according to plan, the world's first full-scale ship tunnel will be completed in 2025 or 2026.
Huntington Ingalls Industries or HII Board of Directors has elected Kari Wilkinson to serve as Executive Vice President of HII and President of HII's Ingalls Shipbuilding Division effective April 1. HII is America's largest military shipbuilding company and a provider of professional services to partners in government and industry. Wilkinson began her career with Ingalls as an associate naval architect in 1996. Since that time, she has supported major shipbuilding production events and milestones from positions in engineering. She has worked closely with business development on requirements and preliminary ship designs for both domestic and international customers. She also coordinated the prioritization of equipment and processes in operations during the Hurricane Katrina recovery effort. In her current role, she has profit and loss responsibility for all elements of program's execution and serves as the principal liaison to the Navy and Coast Guard for all platforms in the Ingalls portfolio. Originally from Hanson, Michigan, Wilkinson earned a Bachelor of Science in Naval Architecture and Marine Engineering from the University of Michigan and an MBA from Temple University. Tonight on Maritime Viewpoints, Attorney Iris Bagilat, President of Dula Seafront Crewing Manila, will share her thoughts on the proposed laws that may impact the industry. Stay tuned on Marino World Online. I am Lynn Bacani.
And those are the maritime news and views here and abroad.